If you've ever pulled your favorite sweater out of the wash only to see that it's shrunk 2 sizes, then this video is for you. Knitwear is beautiful, but it's also one of the easiest things to ruin. So today I'll show you exactly how to take care of it, how to wash safely, how to store properly, and how to keep your sweaters fresh so they last for years. Because buying high quality pieces is only half the battle. The real secret is looking after them so that you can keep wearing them season after season. Quick note before we start, when I say knitwear, I'm talking about natural fibers such as cashmere, wool, mohair, and alpaca. And everything I'm sharing in this video is a mix of my own research and what has worked for me, so adapt it to your wardrobe and your needs. And if you've got your own tips or any special products that you use, please share them with us in the comments so that we can all learn from each other. Part 1, washing and cleaning. How often should I wash my knitwear? Way less than you think. You only really need to wash your knitwear when necessary, such as when you notice any marks or odors. Fabrics like cashmere or wool are breathable, which means they are naturally odor resistant, and they wick away moisture rather than trapping it, which prevents odor-causing bacteria from growing. I normally wear a layer underneath my medium or thick jumpers, like a t-shirt, and then that way, when you sweat onto your t-shirt, which you can wash frequently, and this helps to protect your knitwear further. Should I hand wash or machine wash or dry clean? So firstly, always check the label. Before you wash anything, always make sure to read whatever the care label says to see what is recommended from the brand. As a quick reminder, this symbol means hand wash. This symbol means machine wash at whatever degrees the number says. When it comes to dry cleaning, if you have a simple knitwear piece, such as the one that I'm wearing now, if it says dry clean, I personally don't think you have to take it to the dry cleaners. Most knitwear that says dry clean, you can probably just hand wash, but please use that advice with caution. It really depends on the piece. If it has lining or if it has any embellishments or anything special on it, then it might have to be taken to the dry cleaners. I'm of the impression that dry cleaning uses a lot of heavy chemicals and a lot of abrasive movements, which is quite damaging to natural fibers. And when it comes to washing our knitwear, the number one rule is that we want to be as gentle with it as possible. And so from my own life, my own experience, I mainly hand wash my knitwear. Natural fiber knitwear is very delicate, and so hand washing is the gentlest way to clean it. I think when people think about hand washing, you might think that it takes a lot of time, but it honestly doesn't. And I'm gonna walk you through how to hand wash your knitwear in a bit. But obviously, if you are pressed for time, if you have kids, if you have a very busy life and job, and you do wanna throw your knitwear in the washing machine, you can, but at your own risk. And I'll walk you through how to wash your knitwear in the washing machine safely. If your washing machine has a wool wash setting, then use that. Otherwise, use the delicate setting. Make sure you select the lowest spin speed setting and the lowest temperature. Shrinkage is caused by hot temperatures, and so you want to use the lowest temperature possible. You should also use a special wool detergent, as this is less harsh than your normal laundry detergent. Put your item inside out, and then as an extra precautionary measure, I would also put it inside a mesh bag. This will give as much protection as you can to your item when it's like spinning around in your washing machine. And then hopefully that should do the trick. Hopefully your item won't come out with a changed shape or shrunk or anything like that. And you should lay your items flat to dry. And whilst you lay it out flat, you can kind of put it back into its original shape as well. Never hang it to dry, as the weight might cause it to grow, and you might also get like hanger marks in the shoulders. How do I hand wash? Honestly, hand washing is super easy. You just need to fill a clean basin or a sink with cool or lukewarm water. Add in the recommended amount of special wool detergent. I've also read that baby shampoo is a really good alternative as it's very gentle. And at the end of the day, things like cashmere or wool is like a hair fiber, and shampoo cleans hair, so it kind of makes sense. Again, you want to turn your item inside out and then submerge it into the basin or the sink of water. Then gently swish it around the water and give it a bit of a massage to loosen any dirt or debris that might be in the fabric. Leave it to soak for 5 or 10 minutes and then rinse your item in clean, cool water until there's no more soap left. You want to make sure that you are just being really gentle and careful at this point. This is when your item is going to be the heaviest as it's soaked up all that water. You want to make sure that you have something supporting the bottom of the item, such as your hand. You never want it to just hang freely when it is soaking wet like that. This will cause it to stretch and to grow and to lose its shape. Once all the soap has been rinsed out, you want to get rid of the excess water. Never ever wring out your item. I like to just give it a gentle squeeze, like squeeze it in a ball all together and try and get as much excess water out. Once you've done that, you can take a clean towel and lay it on a flat surface. Then place your item on top of the towel. Again, you can put it back into its original shape. And then you want to roll the towel. And with each roll, I like to give it a press to really squeeze out all that excess water. And then again, just place it flat on your drying rack to dry completely. And this whole process probably takes like 20 minutes max. How do I spot treat my knitwear? So the less you wash your knitwear, the longer you can preserve it for. And like any stain, the faster you get to work on it, the easier it will be to remove. How you treat the stain really depends what it is. You know, is it coffee? Is it red wine? Is it a grass stain? These things are all very different to get out. I found a really good article, which I will link to in the description box, which kind of goes through lots of different stains and how to spot treat them. But some general tips when it comes to spot treating. You want to make sure that you are blotting the stain and then you're not going back and forth and rubbing it in, as this will actually push the stain further into the fabric. Do not ever use bleach, stain removal pens, or any harsh chemicals on your knitwear. Stick to your special wool detergents or baby shampoos. And you also want to avoid hot water, as this again will set the stain in further into the fabric. Should I use fabric softener on my knitwear? So I have been guilty of this in the past. I have actually used fabric softener on my knitwear, but since then I have read that fabric softener is actually really bad for your knitwear. The fabric softener coats the fibers, and this is what makes them feel really soft. But this actually reduces their moisture wicking abilities, and it could potentially cause the fibers to clump up or lose its shape. So as long as you use a knitwear detergent, that really should be enough. Can I put my knitwear in the dryer? The long and the short answer is never. Unless you want to shrink your knitwear 2 sizes, never ever put it in the dryer. Part 2, refreshing your knitwear. What can I do between washes to keep my knitwear fresh? In between washes, you can lightly steam your knitwear just to refresh the fibers and get out any odors, but only if your knitwear really needs it. And make sure that when you do steam your knitwear, you're not holding the steamer up against the knitwear. It's not like you're trying to get creases out of a cotton shirt. It's not like that at all. You want to hold the steamer a few inches away and just let the steam like gently touch the fibers. Otherwise, I just like to keep my knitwear out for a day or so after I've worn it, just to air it out before I put it back in my cupboard. You can also use a fabric spray. This will help to keep the fibers fresh. You can even get sprays that are like antibacterial, although I'd make sure that you're using one that is specially made for knitwear so that it is gentle on the fibers. How do I get rid of pilling? So pilling is like those little tiny bubbles that gather on the fabric. This will usually happen in like high friction areas, and this is just the fabric rubbing against each other and the fibers becoming like little bubbles. This is something that is completely normal from natural fibers. This is something you should expect from your knitwear, but how much or how little something pills comes down to its quality. So normally higher quality pieces are made from longer fibers, this means that they will pill less, whereas lower quality pieces are made from shorter fibers and this pills faster. To get rid of pilling, you can either use a machine depiller or a cashmere comb. For a machine shaver, the one I use is from Philips. I think I just got it on Amazon. I'll link it down below. It's adjustable, so it has this little plastic part at the front. If you take it off, it brings the shaver closer to the fabric, but with it on, it just means that the shaver has that little bit of extra space further away from the fibers. I usually leave it on, otherwise you risk overshaving your fabric. All you need to do is lay your sweater on a flat surface and then glide the shaver gently in short circular motions. You don't need to press down really hard, or you might shave too much off and then you'll make the fabric really thin. So always work in small sections so that you can keep checking what you're doing. And then this will keep your sweaters looking brand new again. And after you have depilled them, you can give them a light steam just to like fluff up the fibers again. For more delicate knitwear, you can also use a cashmere comb, as this is much gentler. Again, just use short and light strokes and only go in one direction. Don't go back and forth. Make sure that you're being gentle. You're not trying to like scrape the surface. You're just trying to give it a gentle brush. As the fibers gather on the comb, just clear it regularly and carry on combing. You also want to make sure that you avoid any loose stitches, as this may catch on the comb and become worse. And then I feel like this goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You don't need to depill something that's brand new. Wait until the natural pilling forms, and then you can use a fabric shaver or a cashmere comb on it. Part 3, storing and preventing damage. Should I fold or hang knitwear? You should always fold your knitwear. Hanging might stretch them out, and if it's a heavy piece of knitwear, then you might get like little shoulder bumps from the hanger, and nobody wants that. But of course, not everyone has the space to fold their knitwear. So if you do have to hang it, this is how you do it safely. So you just want to fold it in half lengthways, and then put the armpit at the top of the hanger where the hook is, and then drape the body over one side and then the arms on the other side. And then hopefully there should be enough support from the hanger that it doesn't grow. How do I prevent moths? So moths are actually attracted to the oils and the sweat in your knitwear. I accidentally left my cashmere jumper out, and the moths had a nice little feast in the armpit, because obviously like that is where I sweat. So when you store your knitwear away, you just want to make sure that it's clean. You can also use cedar blocks or cedar balls in a sachet, or I've also read that people use lavender sachets. You can put these amongst your knitwear or in your wardrobes. Both of these things give off a really strong scent that moths don't like, and it also helps to mask any human odors so that moths aren't drawn in as easily. But you want to think of these things as extra insurance. It helps, but the best way to make sure you don't have moths is just to make sure your knitwear is clean. And also remember that cedar blocks and lavender loses its scent after a few months. So either you re-sand the cedar blocks to refresh it or replace it with a new one. What is the best way to store knitwear off-season? At the end of winter or mid-spring, depending on where you live, you might want to start storing away your knitwear so that it is fresh and ready for you when winter rolls back around again. And this is the best way to do so. So like we spoke about just now, you want to make sure that your knitwear is clean. Maybe just have a day at the end of the season to do any washing and have a bit of a depilling session. Using fabric storage boxes, you can then just fold your knitwear inside, add in any cedar blocks or lavender for that extra moth protection, and you're good to go. I personally prefer fabric boxes over plastic ones. Maybe this is just in my head, but I feel like I want the air to circulate through my knitwear. I want my knitwear to breathe, and I feel like they can't do that in plastic boxes. But I'm sure plastic boxes is fine too. So if you only take away 3 things from this video, let it be this. Number 1, wash gently. Hand wash when you can and always use a wool detergent. Number 2, store smart. Always fold, don't hang, and keep your knits clean when you store them away. And number 3, refresh and don't overwash. A quick depill, a light steam, or just airing it out will keep your knitwear looking new. If you follow these 3 rules, your knitwear really will last a lifetime. If you're interested in learning more, I'm going to link to one of my favorite videos that I've ever made. It's all about what to look for and how to shop for high quality clothing. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.